Hey, how's it going today, guys? I'm Kenny Hiltz.
And I'm Derek Dexter. Hope you guys enjoyed that last video of us doing some training in the great outdoors.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really challenging, but a lot of fun for sure.
Definitely, a lot of fun. Got to enjoy some nature, get some fresh air.
Especially before this lockdown happening tomorrow in Ontario.
Yeah.
Which fucking sucks. I fucking hate that. But it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
But today we got our special guest, a different part of the studio, so we're separated, all that stuff.
Following the COVID regulations, you know.
Yeah. So, well, here's our special guest.
How's it going today, guys? It's me, Deven McIntyre, special guest. Thank you guys for having me on the MMA Talk on Lockdown. Let's get this thing started.
Awesome. Love the energy, Devin. Love the energy.
Yeah, let's get this thing started, guys. Okay, my first question today for you, Devin, is what got you interested in mixed martial arts to want to compete to be a professional MMA fighter?
Going deep right away.
Yeah.
Oh my, you guys are pulling out the big guns right away on me. That's a tough question. I'm going to try to keep it short and simple for you guys. Martial arts has really been in my life ever since I was a youngster. I mean, I remember doing karate at a very young age. My dad has a black belt, and for the life of me, I can't remember the karate style, and he's going to kill me for not knowing. But, yeah, I actually remember doing karate and having my dad as one of my instructors. You know, I got to go to gyms like Steve Anderson, who's a Canadian black belt Hall of Famer. I got to train with him at a very young age. You know, I guess I showed a lot of potential very young. But unfortunately, you know, with my family circumstances, moved around a lot, never really got to fully commit and just give it a good go at a young age. So that was kind of the end of the martial arts career from there. I mean, growing up, I mean, I've seen every Rocky movie there is. I've watched Mike Tyson's boxing events, you know. I've always been into fighting. It's always something that's entertained, like I've been interested into, and actually, a lot of the old UFCs were probably some of the first events that really piqued my interest with wanting to learn MMA. I actually remember watching some of George St. Pierre's fights when he was fighting Matt Hughes for the first 2 times. And that was really probably the beginning of where MMA really started hitting home with me and becoming something that I was thinking about trying. And luckily for me, we found a gym in town, and then the rest is history from there. It just took off from there.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome, man. I love GSP.
Yeah, GSP is my favorite.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
A great rivalry.
Matt Hughes is a great champion from the UFC. He had the title for a lot of years.
Yeah. GSP dethroned him.
Yeah. Second fight. The first fight, GSP was a lot. He was new to the UFC, and the first fight, it was pretty good. And then Matt Hughes got him at the end.
Yeah. I think it was an armbar because GSP was going for a Kimura from side control.
Yeah. And then he reversed it to the armbar.
Yeah, it's good.
But the second fight, that was amazing. GSP put a clinic on Matt Hughes, and he finished him. How did he finish him?
I think he it was TKO. He landed like a nice head kick, and then a few punches afterwards from my brain.
Yeah, and then the ref finished. Yeah, called the fight. I forget what round it is, but I'm sure you could check it out.
Yeah, for sure, check it out.
So my second question to you, Devin, is how old were you when you first started competing in real competition?
Yeah, tell us about that competition a little bit too.
Yeah.
I think I was around 17 or 18 years old when I did my first competition. The first competition I ever did was with Grappling Industries. Actually, it was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament that was round robin style. I just made the weight category for 170 and under. I think at the time I had maybe a month or 2 of jiu-jitsu experience. I was actually training out of Ultimate MMA with Jason St. Louis when he had a school in Cornwall. And I went to that tournament. I did absolutely terrible. I lost every fight that I had. But I was paired up with guys, you know, that were like 4-stripe white belts that basically ready to go to blue belt. And here I was with a couple months of experience and a dream.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. You said that you lost every round, but did you enjoy yourself while you were competing?
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing about getting choked. You know, it's addictive. I loved every minute of every single one of my matches, and I really got hooked. I was really dead set after that first tournament that I wanted to get better and go into another tournament and see what I could do. You know, with a bit more training.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What was the tournament called?
It was Grappling Industries. They held shows up in the Quebec area around Montreal and stuff. So they had some jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love the competitions. I've done a few myself, but I've always been more of a boxer, more of a striker. I love the physicality of it all, the fight. You know?
The dynamite.
Yeah, so
I'm a wrestler. I love wrestling.
You know what I want to know? You know what I want to know? I want to know your first fight. I want to know what got you there, what got you boosted from just training to actually going in there and competing. Let me hear it about the first fight.
So to actually go back in time, I started training at a gym called Apparel MMA. Now I knew Christoph Holler. Christoph Holler opened up a gym, and I had trained with him previously years before that when we were both training with Jay. So I found out that he had his own school opened up, and then I decided to pop in and start training again. And that's when I met you, Kenny, and then you had the whole crew going. You know, there was a giant MMA team, and I believe you were there, right, Derek?
Yeah, I was there as well for a little while there.
Yeah.
We actually we had a fight booked with Heroes, I believe, for a title fight. Kenny had me booked. Yeah, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because it was the greatest time of my life. I had my second child at that time, Logan, and I took some time off. So yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Family first.
Family first.
Yeah.
I'm definitely understanding what that's all about myself right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, you know, I got together with that crew, and we had everything was going like crazy at that point. You know, we had a really big team. Sean Lalone was in there, Matt Terrier. I mean, we had all the guys firing on all cylinders, and I never really thought about fighting at this time. I was just more interested in training. You know, I was actually pretty overweight at the time. You know, I was really in this little body.
I remember.
That was the cheeseburgers and weightlifting phase of my life, and you know, went in there and I was just trying to get in shape and start doing something that I love to do, and it had been a while. So I just started to get back in the flow of things, and then I remember, you know, weight was coming off, training was going really good. I was starting to spar and helping everybody else kind of start getting ready for fights. And I think that's when you actually approached me, Kenny, and you asked me if I felt like stepping in there and seeing what I was made of.
Well, yeah, man, definitely with all your commitment that you put in. You had your previous training, and yeah, you did everything that you were asked of, so why not, you know? Well, why not do an amateur show in the capital of Ottawa?
Yeah, that was a crazy event. You know, Heroes Combat League, I have to give them a shout out. You know, Nabil, he put on amazing events, and it was a great time. I mean, the atmosphere at those events was next to none. I mean, like, he made it feel like it was a pro show. I mean, he had cameras there, you know, the weigh-ins before, just the way the fighters were treated. It was a great stepping stone in amateur MMA, and Nabil really took a really good lead and was doing great things. I mean, coming into there, never have done anything like that. The feeling was crazy. You know, you feel like you're in the pros, and it was, you know, just the amateur days. And so for the fight, I guess, you know, I think you guys both understand the nerves that come with fighting your first ever MMA fight. I mean, oh my goodness.
So on that show, I remember booking, so when I asked you to fight, and then we also got two other guys to fight on the show with you. We had Garrett Nicholson for his debut on that K1 kickboxing fight as a junior, and then we had Matt the Terror Terrier on his first fight.
That man's a beast.
Two beasts right there.
Yeah, that was a great show for sure, right, Deven?
That was a crazy show. I mean, the nerves of that first fight, I don't think I'll ever forget in my entire life. I mean, leading up to the fight, I remember feeling pretty calm. I didn't have any nerves. I remember all morning. I mean, that was in 2016, so that was a little while ago. I remember waking up. I actually ate breakfast because I fought at 155 pounds. And I wasn't even on weight. I mean, I was underweight. I could eat in the morning. I didn't have to do any crazy weight cut or anything.
Wow, that's amazing. Considering for your competitions, you said you were 170 you were walking around?
Yep. Yeah. I was, and when I probably joined Apparel MMA, I was probably pushing, that was after college and such. I was over 200 pounds in 2015. And then going to Apparel, I was probably sitting at like 185. And then just through a lot of hard work, dieting, training my ass off, I lost a lot of weight. You know,
a lot of hard work pays off.
Exactly. You know, so I remember eating breakfast, going to the fights with the crew, and nerves didn't hit me until I was in that back room. When I was in that back room, everything started really hitting home there. You know, I getting the guys getting ready to get fighting, and then when you're told you're on deck, that's when it kicks in.
Very true. Yep. Yeah, I didn't get to be there for those events. I missed a lot back then. I wish I would have fought beside you guys and feel what that was like, basically. So what'd you do in that situation, Kenny? You were the coach. How'd you get him from nervous to ready to go in there?
Well, the first thing as a coach, you gotta remind your guys why they're there, and all the time they put in that training, you know, and that their opponent's just as scared as them, you know, and that you know, they got this, you know, just keep them confident, calm, until that time to release, you know, the beast.
And the two other boys.
The two other guys. So we had Garrett Nicholson for his K1 fight, and it went all 3 rounds, and it was a great turnout, that fight. And then we had Matt Terrier also fight on that card. Matt the Terror Terrier.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, he's a beast. Right. And that went great. He won that fight. He finished the guy.
Nice.
Just finished him.
Yep.
It was amazing. He's a monster. And then we had Deven McIntyre.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you got him ready to go out there.
Well, yeah. I thought he was ready to go.
He didn't look nervous to you from your eyes?
No, he looked ready until he got into the cage, and then he froze up. He froze up for 2 rounds.
First fight jitters.
2 rounds, he froze up. Yeah. So that was probably one of my hardest moments as a coach, to talk to somebody to get in their head. Yeah. Because this guy was, you know, it's hard to say, Devin, but putting a clinic on you for 2 minutes straight.
Yeah, he definitely was kicking the living hell out of me, quite literally, because the guy kicked my lead leg, so much so that I couldn't walk on it for about a week after the fight. Yeah, that was an interesting fight. Actually, you know, like right off the bat at the weigh-ins, like I had told you guys earlier, like I barely even made weight. I didn't make 155. I was under, and this guy actually came in and weighed in heavy. He was overweight. I can't remember how much. Kenny, do you have an idea of how much he was overweight?
He was 8 pounds.
8 pounds?
Yes.
Jesus.
Hits me right off.
Yeah.
And I made sure the promoter, I wanted at least 4 pounds at least cut off within the hour.
Yeah.
You know, and Devin was like, no, we'll fight on the... No. Like, you know, like, let's cut some fucking weight.
Yeah.
So... And the guy did it, man. He pushed hard for an hour, and we went back to the weigh-ins, and he weighed 3 pounds overweight on fight time.
Okay.
So it was
you cut 5 pounds.
Yeah. And I remember I talked to the guy, obviously, after the fight, and he had told me that he was cutting actually down from 170-ish pounds.
Wow.
So that guy had a big weight cut for an amateur fight, that is for sure.
Weighing in on the same day for the amateurs.
Yeah, and those same day weigh-ins there, that's really hard on you when you're cutting crazy weight like that, especially once you get into those later rounds. So it's... Wow. But that guy was a machine, you know. He was definitely very skilled. He had definitely a lot more experience in fights than me. I remember looking up what little footage I can find on him at the time and just thinking, okay, this guy's a real deal. He knows what he's doing. And but I mean, I felt ready, and that's why I took on the challenge, you know. And especially when they told me I was overweight, I remember Kenny, like, you asking me, like, are you still good to take this fight? Because, you know, the promoter wanted to make sure everything was good, and I just wanted to fight.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's your first fight. You just want to go out there and compete.
You know, you don't train that hard that long, and you're not getting in there. It's not even a question. I was 100% ready to fight him. And, the fight went the 3 rounds. The first 2 rounds, I definitely took a beating. I had those first fight jitters,
it was
which
terrible. You know,
yeah.
I understand about freezing because my first fight I froze.
Yeah.
Right. You know, but after the first round, I was able to go.
Yeah,
sometimes it just doesn't snap yet. Yeah,
it
takes a little while.
I don't know what it is. You know, like unfortunately, it was the only fight of the night that the footage of that fight was no good. It was a corrupted file. I remember reaching out to the promoter a few times, Nabil, and talking to actually the camera crew that filmed the event. And because the crowd went so crazy at the end of the fight, so basically to give the audience an idea of what happened, first 2 rounds I went out, I froze, and he kicked my lead leg to hell. He battered and beat me everywhere. I mean, we had a couple scrambles, and a couple times I threw a couple punches, but
into the 3rd round, I was gonna stop your fight.
Yep.
I was.
Yeah.
What did I say to you?
So I
remember what I said to you?
I do remember. I remember coming down to that stool, and you looked me dead in the face, and you told me, you asked me, you said, do you want to be here right now? And I said, I just remember saying, yep. And you're like, okay, well, you're losing this fight. You need to get out there. You need to go at him, and then you got to take him down. We got to take him down and finish this fight.
Get his ass to the ground, man.
I had to. I just remember you telling me that, you know, I had to finish that fight. I was losing that fight, and in every way possible. You know, he beat me up physically, mentally, and I just remember going into that 3rd round and just biting down the mouth guard, getting ready. You know, we got backed up onto the fence, and then this had happened the first 2 rounds where he kept backing me up the fence and just beating the living hell out of me. So he definitely didn't see this coming, but I came at him, got a big takedown. We did a little bit of a flip. Then I got my submission. I got the guillotine choke on him and tapped him out.
The crowd went crazy after
that. The crowd went absolutely crazy. That place was...
Guillotine choke in the 3rd round.
Yep, I got submission win in my first fight. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Safe to say that...
Like a Cinderella story, man. I'm telling you, I came back. It was great. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's my own little Rocky moment, you know, like get beat up and then get the win.
How can you not love fighting after that as a first fight?
Oh, it was a rush, man.
Good.
Yeah.
There's really nothing like the rush of that first fight. That first fight, it feels like a movie's going out in real life, basically. It's nothing like it.
It's for real, man.
Yeah.
You know, like tunnel vision, you know, it feels like you're in the movies for sure.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's not real. It's like everything you saw on TV. It's great.
Yeah. So Deven, I know you have 6 amateur MMA fights. You're 5-1.
Nice.
So why don't you just good record. And he deserved all those wins, that's for sure. Worked hard. But Deven, what we want to know is for your next 5 fights, how did they go? Tell us about what shows you fought on after Heroes, and where did it lead you to?
So rundown, I guess, of the next 5 fights. Second fight was actually in Cornwall. I fought at the NAV Center for Rec MMA. I got a TKO win in the first round. My third fight would have been for Heroes back in Ottawa. I fought Dogma Dimitri, one of the Mills guys. I got a submission in the first round. My fourth fight was for a title for Heroes. It was a 145-pound title. I fought against Brandon Lee out of H2O. I unfortunately lost that fight in the third round. I got choked. I got put to sleep, actually. I fought the choke off till I passed out.
It was a great fight, though.
And let's see, after that, I got back in the cage for Nabil. I fought again for Heroes. I fought Ryan Hickey. I went all 3 rounds with him, got the decision win. And then my last amateur fight was here in Cornwall, Ontario, at the NAV Center, fighting for the 145-pound title for Rec MMA.
Awesome. Yeah, it was definitely a really big show for Cornwall that night. Hey, Deven, we had, 8 fighters all representing...
Yeah, it was crazy. We had
Academy from Cornwall at the time.
Everybody out to do that one, and what a crazy experience.
And it started off because it was we had junior kickboxing, eh?
Yeah, that's true.
And then we had the MMA after. So we had juniors. The juniors that I had for that show was Tyler Duprius and Garrett Nicholson. And man, those boys, they can go. They can punch and kick. Those kids, hey, I think they were 16 years old, 17, no, 15 or 16, one of the two.
Yeah.
And they were killers, man. And they did great in their fights for sure. They both won theirs. And then I believe we had, who do we have? We had Travis
Travis Nut Brown,
the Madness, Nut Brown.
Yep.
We had Pat the Cookie Bandit, St. Pierre.
Yep.
We had Joel the Flow Brazo, right?
Yep.
We had, who else did we have on that card?
Matt Terrier fought.
Yeah,
Matt Terrier.
Yeah.
And then we had Garrett Dagenet fought.
Oh, yeah.
Brother-in-law.
Your brother-in-law.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
There's a lot of people on that card.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
It was a big night for Cornwall. And, yeah, we got all the wins. And, well, that was, they all won their fights. And then Deven was the last to go. And it was crazy. Tell me how you felt that. Your main event in Cornwall, right?
Yeah.
Did you feel any extra pressure by chance?
Wow, that was an event. The lead up to that event was absolutely crazy. I mean, I think absolutely everybody in town knew about that event. I mean, everywhere I would go when I was at work, everybody would ask me, "Are you ready for this belt? You know, are you ready for the fight?" Excited to be there. The town was buzzing, and that Nav Center that night was packed. And everybody went out, just like you were saying. Everybody went out and won. And I was fighting for the title. Last fight of the night. When you talk about pressure, like, I could not lose. I was like, no way in hell was I going to allow myself to lose that fight. I was ready to die and then get that title, man.
So you were main event.
Yeah.
It was your title fight.
Yeah.
In your hometown where your gym is.
Yeah. Crazy amounts of pressure. Absolutely insane. And then there was also that little bit of talk, you know, what was the next step after that, pro or not. So I had all these things going on in my head. Yeah. And crazy pressure, and the crowd was absolutely insane. It was loud in there.
Cornwall's crowd is nuts. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They show their support for sure.
For sure.
Sure.
And, that fight was a 5-round war. I got to fight a guy named Adam Glado. He wasn't representing a gym at the time when I fought him, but this guy had a lot of experience, and he was that guy, you know, a big shout out to Adam Glado. That guy was a warrior inside that cage with me that night. I mean, that guy, we both went at each other, and we gave each other everything we had. I mean, we both landed some big shots in that fight, and neither of us were ready to be put away. We were in there to get that title, and we put absolutely everything out out there. We didn't hold anything back.
The crowd got their money's worth, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that's the kind of fight you want in a title fight.
Yeah, Derek, you fought for a title, like, you know what I mean? Like, the pressure going in there is absolutely crazy, right?
Nervous.
Yeah.
Gotta be confident. Gotta be confident as all hell going in there for those title fights. So
yeah.
I feel a little special right now. I got 2 champions with different organizations all around here. At one moment, it's awesome. Yeah.
A lot of gold in this room.
Yes,
Everybody
sir.
loves gold. But we're running out of time, so we're going to have to cut this a little short. I'd like to thank Deven McIntyre for being with us today. Yes, sir. Is there anything you would like to say to the audience before we check out?
Hey, you know, during these crazy times, you know, we have to do what we can to stay safe and appreciate the little things. So, you know what, guys, thank you so much for having me here. I look forward to doing this again. You know, this was a good time. It's fun bringing up the past, you know, talk about the old days, and you know, just getting to talk about MMA and fights. You know, it's a nice change of pace, you know, instead of what's out there right now. So thank you guys again for having me, and I cannot wait till the next time.
Awesome, Deven. Well, it was great having you on for the show. It was great having you on, hearing about your first fight, the nerves, everything like that, the details leading up all the way up to that title fight. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was an exciting road for me anyways, as being a coach.
Yeah.
But stay tuned for our next episode featuring Deven McIntyre's title fight. We'll have the full fight on it. So yeah, you definitely don't want to miss out.
Awesome. Don't miss that.